What if you could drive a car that's loaded with features, built for reliability and style to stand out, yet most people have no idea it exists? Sounds too good to be true, right? Yet these forgotten models are sitting in used car lots, overshadowed by their more famous siblings and overlooked by buyers who simply don't know what they're missing. Some were misunderstood from the start, some were poorly marketed, and others were swallowed up by fierce competition and short-lived trends. But when it comes to value, performance, and uniqueness, these hidden machines are absolute treasures, prepared to enter the realm of under-the-radar deals that offer so much more than their low resale prices would suggest. These are the cars that might make your friends scratch their heads until you prove you've stumbled upon an incredible bargain. So if you're the type of person who loves discovering diamonds in the rough, buckle up. We're diving into the world of vehicles nobody talks about, but absolutely should. First on the list is a model that never quite fit into any category, which is exactly why it's such a shockingly good value now. The Honda Crosstour came out swinging, a liftback design that resembled a tall hatchback, a luxurious cabin reminiscent of an upscale sedan, and optional all-wheel drive for extra confidence on the road. Yet, from day one, its identity seemed muddled. Was it an SUV? Was it a station wagon? Was it a sedan with a really big trunk? When it debuted, the market seemed confused by the Crosstour's shape. Buyers who wanted a sedan stuck with the traditional Honda Accord, and those seeking a crossover swarmed around models like the CR-V. Caught in the middle, the Crosstour never gained significant traction, leading Honda to quietly discontinue it. But that was only half the story. Beneath the sloping roofline lies a vehicle that brilliantly merges comfort, functionality, and reliability. If you peek under the hood, you'll usually find either a smooth, fuel-friendly 4-cylinder engine or a powerful V6 that can devour highway miles without blinking. The all-wheel drive option is a game changer if you live where roads get treacherous in the winter. Inside, you'll often discover leather seats, heated front cushions, dual-zone climate control, and technology that makes daily driving a pleasure, especially in later model years. Think of it as an Accord on steroids, engineered to handle gear, groceries, or weekend luggage with ease. Open the liftback and you'll be greeted by a surprisingly generous cargo area. Sure, it's not as tall as a traditional SUV trunk, but the wide opening and folded down seats can handle furniture, large suitcases, or bulky sports equipment. If you're wondering about reliability, the Crosstour's mechanical components are shared with the Accord, a vehicle renowned for its ability to soldier on for hundreds of thousands of miles if maintained well. That means finding parts is easy and typically more affordable than you'd face with some rare exotic wagon that no one has heard of. One of the best parts of this overlooked ride is its price. Because it never hit mainstream popularity, used Crosstours often list for thousands less than comparable SUVs or crossovers, even when they're in top-notch condition. This translates to a golden opportunity for those willing to embrace its unconventional design. If you can handle sideways glances from folks who can't quite place it, the Honda Crosstour might reward you with a near-luxury experience at a bargain cost. Some potential hiccups do exist, mainly tied to electronics. Certain owners have reported minor infotainment quirks like glitchy navigation screens or occasionally finicky audio controls. That's not unusual for an older model, and usually a simple update or minor fix can solve these annoyances. Besides, the mechanicals are classic Honda, tough, proven, and ready to log mile after mile. If you've ever thought about skipping the cookie-cutter sedans and crossovers out there, the Crosstour deserves a long, thoughtful look. This underappreciated oddball offers a smooth ride, spirited acceleration, especially in V6 form, and all the cargo flexibility most people need in a world of skyrocketing car prices. Stepping away from the mainstream can land you an incredible deal. And this is just the beginning, but that's just one example. Another quiet contender lurks in the midsize segment, waiting to break free from the shadows of its better-known rivals. Midsize sedans aren't typically described as thrilling in the eyes of most buyers. They're basic family haulers, safe, comfortable, and capable of hauling kids or groceries. But the Mazda 6 challenges all those assumptions in a big way. While the Honda Accord and Toyota Camry have long enjoyed the spotlight, the Mazda 6 has quietly built a reputation for offering genuine driving enjoyment. Think crisp handling, a well-balanced chassis, and a cabin that often feels more upscale than you'd expect at this price. Still, it's overlooked, partly because Mazda has always been a niche brand, and partly because people assume it's less reliable than the big players. Here's the truth. Mazda invests heavily in what they call Jinba Ittai, a Japanese concept referring to the oneness between horse and rider, here between car and driver. That design philosophy is all about precise control, minimal body roll, and a sense that the car responds directly to your inputs. And while the Accord or Camry may trumpet in brand recognition, the Mazda 6 frequently comes out on top in terms of how much fun it is to drive. If you've ever grown bored of typical midsize sedans, slip behind the wheel of a Mazda 6 and you might realize driving can still be an exciting part of your day. But that's not all. The interior is surprisingly refined. You might find soft touch materials, advanced infotainment systems, optional leather appointments, and a sleek dashboard layout that suggests a price tag higher than the actual cost. Later models of the Mazda 6 feature everything from adaptive cruise control to advanced safety aids like blind spot monitoring. Couple that with a top-tier Bose sound system in higher trims, and it starts to feel like a premium car, minus the premium expense. Why is it so affordable then? Because it depreciates faster. The brand simply doesn't carry the same mainstream clout as Honda or Toyota, and that skepticism about resale value drives prices down in the used market. That's where savvy car shoppers win. A lightly used Mazda 6 can cost significantly less than a comparable Accord or Camry, while offering arguably more driving satisfaction. It's not just about the horsepower figure, though the turbocharged versions pack a genuine punch. It's about the overall experience, how the steering wheel feels in your hands, how confident the chassis is around corners, and how smoothly the engine revs. Reliability concerns? Mazda's come a long way from the days when they were overshadowed by questionable transmissions or rust issues in older generations. Modern Mazda 6 models are typically quite reliable if serviced according to schedule, and common parts aren't expensive. Sure, there might be small nuisances like touchscreen glitches or occasional squeaks in older models, but these are hardly reason enough to dismiss the entire brand. The result is a perfect storm for anyone wanting a midsize sedan that doesn't put them to sleep behind the wheel. On the used market, you might find yourself scoring a top-tier trim with advanced features for the same price as a bare-bones Camry or Accord. If driving enjoyment matters to you at all, and if you're open to stepping off the beaten path, this is one of those hidden opportunities that can pay off every time you take a curve. But if you're craving something even more offbeat, something built to laugh at muddy hiking trails or cart around a messy pack of dogs, then brace yourself. There's a boxy rebel in Honda's back catalog that defies convention at every turn. Picture a vehicle that looks like a rolling box with wide opening doors that hinge from the front and rear, seats that fold or come out entirely, and floors you can literally hose down. That's the Honda Element in a nutshell. It never enjoyed widespread success, likely because it was just too different for most car buyers. But for people who love the outdoors, or even folks who are tired of vacuuming pet hair out of cramped crossovers, the Element might be a dream come true. Yes, it's unconventional. The shape is unapologetically rectangular, leading some to call it an ugly duckling. But that design is about more than just looks. The massive interior space is so adaptable that it puts many bigger SUVs to shame. Remove or fold up the rear seats, and you've got a cavern that can hold mountain bikes, surfboards, or piles of camping gear. No special racks required. The plastic floors and water-resistant upholstery are perfect for muddy boots or shedding dogs. And that second set of rear hinge doors lets you load cargo without contorting your body around a tight door frame. Beneath the quirky exterior, you'll find classic Honda reliability. The Element typically sports a 2.4-liter four-cylinder engine that's easy to maintain and known to run for hundreds of thousands of miles if treated well. You can opt for front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, making it suitable for everything from city errands to snowy back roads. True, it's not built for rock crawling or deep off-roading, but it'll handle rutted gravel and slippery winter days better than your average sedan. Because it was too niche for the mainstream, its resale values tend to be lower than more popular SUVs. That's great news for buyers looking for a rugged, functional ride that's not going to break the bank. The biggest drawback is simply finding one. Elements can be somewhat scarce on used lots because, while Honda sold a reasonable number, they're now older vehicles, and people who own them often hang on to them. If you're patient, you can discover well-maintained examples at shockingly good prices. Just be aware that the Element is not for everyone. If you need 3 rows of seating, look elsewhere, as it's mainly a roomy 4-seater. If you value a sleek aerodynamic shape, the box-on-wheels style is going to be a deal breaker. But if you're an outdoor enthusiast or a dog lover who needs a durable interior, the Element is in a class of its own. Instead of paying extra for a brand new SUV that'll be filthy after the first trip to the trail, you could save thousands and pick up this unorthodox gem that's built to get dirty and keep going. Of course, you might want the reliable traction of all-wheel drive in a more conventional sedan form, especially if you're dealing with harsh climates or unpredictable weather, that's where another hidden champion enters the conversation, quietly offering everything you need without the SUV price tag. When people think Subaru, they often envision the Outback or Forester. Sedans rarely come to mind, which is exactly why the Subaru Legacy has become a stealthy bargain. In an era when sedans have taken a backseat to crossovers, this model retains Subaru's trademark symmetrical all-wheel drive system, making it a confidence-inspiring choice in rain, snow, and on slippery roads. Yet because buyers looking for a Subaru often default to the more famous SUVs, used Legacy prices remain surprisingly low. This is a sedan that can handle rugged weather without resorting to a heavy, fuel-hungry SUV. Its stance is comfortable, the interior feels roomy for a midsize, and it delivers that classic Subaru sense of safety and reliability. The brand has faced rumors over the years, like accusations surfaced about older models having head gasket problems, but modern Legacies, especially those from the last decade, are typically well past those issues. Maintain one properly, and there's no reason it can't rack up hundreds of thousands of miles. Open the door, and you'll see a tidy, user-friendly interior. The Legacy might not compete with European luxury sedans in terms of lavish materials, but it's more than adequate for daily life. Cloth or leather seats, intuitive infotainment, and optional driver assist features make it a pleasant place to be. In many ways, it's a perfect compromise for someone who's bored by the usual mid-size sedans, but doesn't necessarily want to pilot a bulky SUV. Plus, it's relatively efficient for an all-wheel drive vehicle of its size, which keeps fuel costs manageable. If you're hunting for used all-wheel drive sedans, there aren't many choices out there. As a result, you might assume prices are high, but the Legacy avoids that trap. It's overshadowed by crossovers, so you'll often spot a good condition Legacy for thousands less than an equivalent Outback or Forester. And that's not even counting how much cheaper it can be compared to popular SUVs from other brands. When winter hits, or you're driving on a rain-soaked highway, you'll be grateful you have a stable, full-time all-wheel drive system under your feet. Sure, it doesn't have the cargo space of a wagon or crossover, but if you don't need extra room for big furniture or a parade of children, the Legacy is tough to fault. It delivers comfort, practicality, and sure-footed handling in a neat sedan package, exactly the type of under-the-radar find that can save you a bundle. Yet, if you require something with even more passenger space, something that can seat the entire family, and then some, there's another overlooked model that merges SUV practicality with minivan sensibilities, all wrapped in a design that dares to be different. At first glance, the Ford Flex doesn't look like your typical family hauler. It's long, it's low, and it has a design that some have jokingly compared to a giant rolling toaster. That unconventional style never really captured a mass audience, but it absolutely caught the attention of people who actually drove one. Because if there's one thing the Flex excels at, it's providing tons of space in a vehicle that still drives more like a station wagon than a bulky SUV. Slide into the driver's seat and you'll notice 3 rows of seating. There's enough room in the second row for adult passengers to stretch out comfortably, and if you choose the version with second row captain's chairs, it feels downright luxurious back there. Fold down the rear seats and the cargo space will swallow a shocking amount of gear, perfect for big families or folks who frequently haul equipment. Road trips, camping, soccer practice, the Flex can handle it. Powertrain options range from a respectable 3.5-liter V6 to a twin turbocharged EcoBoost variant that practically turns this family-friendly box into a sleeper hot rod. With up to 365 horsepower on tap in the turbo version, the Flex can move swiftly despite its size. Some owners love surprising other drivers when a boxy family hauler rockets off the line. Fuel economy isn't its biggest strength, but you aren't buying this vehicle for maximum MPG. You're buying it for an unbeatable combination of comfort and capacity. So why aren't more people snapping these up? It comes down to styling and branding. The Flex's shape is a major departure from the more traditional SUVs in Ford's stable, like the Explorer. Its bold stripes, rectangular silhouette, and retro vibe can be polarizing. As a result, resale values haven't kept pace with more conventional competitors. That's fantastic news if you're willing to march to the beat of your own drum. You can find a used Flex for significantly less than rival 3-row vehicles, especially if you shop carefully for a well-maintained model. Long-term reliability is generally solid. Check for typical used car considerations. Ensure the turbo model has been serviced properly. Confirm the transmission shifts smoothly, and take a peek at the vehicle's service records. Minor electrical bugs can pop up like glitchy infotainment or finicky climate control, but those issues are far from widespread showstoppers. For the sheer practicality of hauling up to 7 people and all their stuff without jumping to a full-blown minivan, it's tough to beat the Flex. That covers 5 major hidden heroes, each tackling a different automotive niche. But these aren't the only overlooked machines that can deliver big value. There are a few more honorable mentions that deserve a spotlight, models that might not be on anyone's radar, but could be perfect for you. Cars like the Honda Crosstour, Mazda 6, Honda Element, Subaru Legacy, and Ford Flex each cater to different lifestyles. They all share one important trait. They're overshadowed enough in the marketplace to become downright bargains for those paying attention, and we've still only scratched the surface. From unusual hatchbacks to discontinued minivans that seat 7 in perfect comfort, the used car world is full of these lesser-known gems. Often, a simple shift in design language, a marketing blunder, or stiff competition cause them to fade in the public eye, yet they remain solid, reliable, and sometimes even luxurious choices for anyone willing to look beyond the usual suspects. You might wonder, if these cars are so good, why don't more people buy them? The reality is that automotive trends can be fickle. Sometimes the best vehicles simply get overlooked because they're released at the wrong time or overshadowed by more aggressively advertised rivals. Many brands choose to focus their ad dollars on top sellers, leaving niche products to fend for themselves. That might sound like a negative, but it's actually a golden opportunity for anyone who isn't swayed by the crowd. So, what's the moral of this story? Sometimes the most rewarding finds are hidden in plain sight, while everyone else is chasing the same trendy crossovers or classic midsize sedans. You could be slipping behind the wheel of a well-built, feature-packed car at a fraction of the price. Maybe it's a misunderstood Honda Crosstour that doubles as a sneaky cargo hauler, or a sleek Mazda 6 that delivers an authentic driver's experience, or perhaps it's a Honda Element that revels in the rugged outdoors without batting an eye. If you dare to step off the beaten path, you may discover a ride that fits your lifestyle better than any mainstream option ever could, and for far less money than anyone expects. Car shopping doesn't have to be a one-size-fits-all affair. Take a moment, consider your true priorities: handling, cargo space, reliability, style, and don't be afraid to look at the so-called weird models sitting on the far side of the dealership. That's often where the real treasure hides. Which one of these overlooked cars catches your eye the most? Do you already own a hidden gem that deserves more attention? Join the conversation and share your secret find. Remember, just because something isn't popular doesn't mean it isn't brilliant. In the quest for the perfect used car, curiosity can be your biggest advantage. So keep an open mind, do your research, and let the rest of the world overpay for what's fashionable. You'll be cruising away in a unique bargain that speaks volumes about your savvy, and maybe even turn a few heads along the way.